If Relic guitars make you angry, this video's for you. If you're watching this video, chances are you're still not subscribed to the channel. So if you like this video and want to check out more, make sure you hit subscribe below. Hi, Sam from Guitar Village here. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about Relic guitars. So what are Relic guitars? Just like the one I have in front of me, they're an authentic recreation of some of the vintage classic guitars. It allows a player to own a piece of history at a fraction of the price of the originals. Let's take a look at a few examples. So for me, Fender have always been the pioneers of the Relic world. They offer one of the most extensive relicing programs. You can go from something like an NOS finish, which is like a brand new guitar, all the way through to an ultimate Relic or a super heavy Relic at the other end of the spectrum. So why would you buy a Relic guitar? And what are the arguments for and against them? In favour of Relic guitars, I think one of the main things is they're cheap than buying an original vintage guitar. This guitar I have in front of me is a 70th anniversary Fender Custom Shop Broadcaster. Now, I don't know if you check the vintage guitar prices out for an original Broadcaster these days, but they're going to be something like 50, 60, maybe even 70,000. And that's if you can find one as well. This guitar is so much cheaper, it's just under £4,000. It's a killer guitar, and this thing's going to work every day of the week. This is a bit of a personal one, but I do have some friends that have been through the same thing as well. When I bought brand new guitars before, they're all lovely and shiny and pristine. You get them home, play them for a few days, there's always going to come that time when you get that first dent in the guitar. And that is a horrible feeling, seeing that dent in there, because you can never undo that. Yeah, you could fill the dent, spray it over and things like that, or even respray the guitar, but it's never quite the same as the way it left the factory. That's one good thing with Relics, that if you do drop it, you drop this thing down the stairs, as long as it doesn't snap in two, which it probably won't being a Fender, you're going to be fine. It's going to look exactly the same. This is a bit more specific to the Fender Custom Shop or Gibson Custom Shop, more so than just Relics, is that you have almost endless options with the guitars. You could have something that looks like this, it's all beaten up, it looks like a vintage guitar. Maybe you want a super skinny modern neck profile on there, if you want to do some shred stuff on it, or maybe you want some high output mini humbuckers or full-size humbucker pickups in there as well. You can really change, custom order these things, make up your own boutique specs for these. That's three great reasons I think you should buy a Relic guitar. Why shouldn't you buy a Relic guitar? One of the biggest arguments I hear, customers coming in, forums, things like that, is people didn't earn these wear marks and dents and things on the guitar by playing it. Lots of people buy vintage guitars as well that are already beaten up, and I'm fairly certain they didn't put those dents in there either, so either way, someone else has made them look relics. One of the other big arguments against Relic guitars is that you pay more for something that has dents on it. Well, yes, you do. You know, when you buy a Relic guitar, there's so many more processes that are involved compared to buying an NOS finish that they have to charge more. And the more Relicing you have, the higher the price goes because there's more time involved. One of the biggest arguments is they don't look good. Well, that's not really an argument, it's an opinion, and it is wrong. At least in my opinion anyway. I think Relic guitars really look great, and I can't see really any reason why you wouldn't want to buy one. When we look at Relic guitars, I think it's really important to compare them to some of the vintage originals. Fortunately, we have a few options around the shop where we can compare like-for-like models so we can see how well Gretsch, Fender, Gibson, whoever got their Relicing. This is a 1959 G6121. It's a great looking guitar, I really like it. When I check out these vintage guitars, I like to see what the condition's like with the finish, with the hardware. With most Gretsch's like this one here, cracked pickguard. It's very common on these ones. Other little things I've noticed is the hardware's got a little bit of oxidization to it. It's just, kind of softened up and looks a bit vintage. In terms of lacquer checking, on the top of the guitar, there isn't a lot, but the lacquer is sinking into the wood, which is a really good sign. Where the binding meets the bodywood, you can see little bits of areas of checking there and things like that, which is nice. I'm seeing a few minor dents, tiny bits and pieces, just where the lacquer's broken a little bit. Onto the back of the guitar, there's some scratches there, nothing particularly deep, not really much in the way of buckle rest, something that you often see on vintage guitars, which is why you see lots of it on the Relics. And in terms of the tuners, again, a little bit of oxidization there, some natural relicing processes going on. Other little touches as well are things with the Relic guitars and the vintage guitars where I think the comparisons are interesting is how rounded things are. So on this original one, feeling things like the edge of the body here, you can feel it's pretty sharp there, not overly sharp, it's going to hurt you or anything, but it's a clean cut part. Whereas when you get to the neck where it's been played in for so long, the tuners, things like that, it all feels very rounded and smooth. Now for comparison, our Relic guitar, I have from the Gretsch custom shop a G6128T, a 1959 reissue, so this is about as close a comparison as you're going to get. This is a really cool guitar in a blue sparkle finish. Now, the things I noticed straight away when picking this up, the pickguard isn't cracked, that's always a good sign. You've got some oxidization to some of the hardware. I think that's crucial in getting that real vintage mojo and look there. You do have some lacquer checking, more so than the original, but I have seen a lot of original Gretsch's, Gibson's, Fenders with lots of lacquer checking, and I think it really sets off a Relic guitar as well. Onto the back of the guitar, we do have some more belt buckle rash there. Lacquer checking continues over that. In terms of the neck, there is a little bit of kind of wearing in there. I think more so on the kind of corners of the neck there. You can see just where they've just worn through a little bit to make it feel more played in. And the edges of the fingerboard feel quite rolled as well, so it does feel very played in. The body has that same kind of sharp, clean cut kind of edges to it there. When you get up to things like the tuners, they do feel very rounded and worn in as well. So in terms of capturing that vintage essence, I think Gretsch Custom Shop absolutely nails it. For our next vintage comparison, I went for this, a 1964 Gibson Melody Maker 3/4 size. This is a really cute looking little guitar. It's very light actually, and great for comparing to one of the Gibsons. What we've got here is a guitar with tons of lacquer checking on it, and the lacquer checking's got really dirty as well. I love looking at these patterns on here, you can see where the lines move around, where maybe the lacquer checking starts, where it finishes. Sometimes you can never find the end of it. I think we just follow the guitar round and round. Another thing I've been noticing on this one is some little dents and things like that. So it's been played a bit. I think it's been looked after quite well, but it does have some little dents and things like that in there. On the side of the fingerboard, you've got areas here where it's been played in a lot, and you can see where the thumb has just worn away some of the lacquer there as well. The tuners have got lots of kind of patina to them as well, so they're very worn in, very soft looking, and the whole thing looks very vintage. Now, to compare it to the Murphy Lab, the first thing I would go for again is the lacquer checking. You can see on this one, lots of lacquer checking. The patterns are slightly different on there, but they're bound to be. This is a great looking guitar as well. I love the Pelham Blue finish. The hardware on this one is slightly more shiny, so I would say, as this is an ultra light aged guitar, I think if you were to go through the Murphy Lab, maybe to one of the heavy aged ones, it might be just a little bit closer to the original one. But overall, the feel and vibe is still there. So we know talking about Relic guitars is a very divisive subject. We'd love to know what you think about them, so make sure you put that in the comments below. Maybe we can start a debate up down there about them as well. Also, all the gear we use today will be linked in the description below, so if there's anything you want to check out further, check out the links there. We love making this video and we hope you did too. If you want to stay in touch and check out more of our videos, please click subscribe to the channel to check out what we're up to next. Also, don't forget to give us a thumbs up.